This week on WestfordCAT News, plastic straws may be the next item to be banned in Westford.
500 million plastic straws are used every day in the USA. I thought I'd just toss that in there.
We say goodbye to our Westford Academy students after their 5-week internship at WestfordCAT.
Thanks for choosing WestfordCAT.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So, fly away, children.
And we tell you about a 1-year-old bunny who needs a home. Welcome to WestfordCAT News. I'm Tracy Tebro, a WestfordCAT board member. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to sign up for our email alerts to get our latest Westford news articles. Just visit westfordcatnews.org and click on the red subscribe button in the upper right corner. Do you have a local issue that you want others to know more about? Our news director, Joyce Polino-Crane, would like to hear about it and perhaps collaborate on telling your story. Email jcrane@westfordcat.org to team up. Westford resident Richard Coleman, the man who got plastic grocery bags banned from Westford beginning January 1st of this year, is now focused on banning plastic straws from restaurants.
If we're looking at changing out plastic, what will take its place? Paper and plant. And where does that come? That comes from the sun. I love the sun, don't you? It's nice and warm and clean.
I wish we could
and
see
oil
it.
is dirty and under the ground and all the other stuff. So if we can move from plastic to plant and tree paper, I think that would be a good thing to do. And that has started here in town. Kimball's, as you may have heard, on their own, made a change, and it goes through all of their stores. This is the straw which they use, which I will pass around. And Jill was planning on also being here. She sent me an email saying that something came up that she could not, but she gave me some facts, so you can look at that.
The Board of Health members will hold a public meeting in July on Coleman's plan. To watch the entire board meeting, visit westfordcat.org. Here's Polino-Crane with a highlight of the Selectmen's meeting.
Thanks, Tracy. Selectmen on May 14th unanimously voted to file a criminal complaint against Haley Gallagher, the owner of 2 dogs that mauled a toy poodle to death in mid-April. On May 2nd, Selectmen ordered Gallagher to deliver the dogs to the town's animal control officers by 11 a.m. the next day. Luca and Wendy, a pit bull mix and a Labrador mix, were to be housed with Groton Animal Control, where they could be cared for around the clock. But Gallagher did not comply with the ruling, and the dogs' whereabouts are not known. Town Council Greg Corbo recommended that the board file a criminal complaint against Gallagher.
You know, my opinion is that the most likely way of obtaining compliance would be to pursue criminal action, and I would defer to the police department to explain what that would involve.
If the Board of Selectmen authorized the criminal charges to be pursued, our court prosecutor will bring over the complaint to the Air District Court, where he will submit the criminal charges under Chapter 140, 157A to try and gain compliance by Haley Gallagher of the board's order. He will request an expedited hearing, because if those dangerous dogs are out there, we want to try and address this issue as quickly as possible. So hopefully within 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have a probable cause hearing. And that basically all that is to find out if there's enough probable cause to go forward with the charge, where if Ms. Gallagher has an attorney, they can present some information, but they'll essentially just go through the information and determine whether or not it's more likely than not, it's a probable cause, that this violation has happened, and they'll set up a court date, and then it'll follow the normal court process with submission of evidence and calling witnesses for a potential court date, unless there's a plea agreement or anything else reached beforehand. You know, with the ultimate goal that the dogs will be turned in, and there is, I think, first offense is up to a $500 fine and 60 days in jail, and a second or subsequent offense finding is $1,000 and up to 90 days.
Sean Bryan, Gallagher's friend, told selectmen he was responsible for the dog's disappearance.
First off, the second hearing that Ms. Gallagher failed to appear at, it was not even a misunderstanding, it was an oversight. The notice that the hearing had been changed from the 16th to the 8th was handed to Jill Gallagher, who obviously not information that would be privy to the court, but is a paranoid schizophrenic. That was never handed over. Information cannot be turned over to her. Ms. Gallagher did not appear to tell you that honestly the responsibility is quite largely mine. You were told at that hearing that the dogs have been removed from the town to protect the neighbors. They were removed from the town by me while I was fixing the fence. They could have been let out by Jill or anyone else, so they were brought to an associate of mine.
Do you have new information as it relates to what we're talking about tonight?
I believe so. The dogs were turned over to an individual in New Bedford by the name of Norman Beanstra. He, in time, called the police and notified them that there were dogs that had escaped. I brought them to someone with no dogs because they may have been vicious, and unfortunately he had no dogs and didn't know how to contain dogs. They got out. They're probably scared somewhere trying to run home, but they don't know where home is. They're not going to find home. They're not going to come back to his house. Animal control has spotted them, but the police did not respond in time to get there to the place where they were. They're loose somewhere. Ms. Gallagher does not have control of this situation. I'm not sure how a criminal complaint can be lodged against a person who has no control. Honestly, I'm here to take responsibility. It's an unfortunate situation, but it's my fault more than hers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, I'm going to refute the fact that Haley had no idea about that second hearing. Jill was served in hand. However, we did have telephone conversations with Haley several times, and she said that she was not going to be able to make it. So she was contacted. She was aware.
The board also voted unanimously to require 2 unlicensed Chihuahuas living at Gallagher's home at 10 Wilson Farm Road to be licensed within 32 hours of their meeting. Back to you, Tracy.
Westford Academy seniors Matthew Doherty and Brendan Berg have completed their capstone projects at WestfordCAT. The capstone projects are designed to give graduating seniors real-world experience. Here's Doherty and Berg describing their independent projects.
Hi, I'm Matthew Doherty, and I was brought into WestfordCAT to make a 10-minute scene for them. Just sort of something they can air between like news segments and other things. It was originally a 10-minute play I wrote called Intermezzo that I put on screen, and I was in charge of, well, directing it and also doing technical elements, and I also starred in it alongside Brendan. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to make and a lot of fun to write when I did. It was sort of just a weird, crazy process I did. It was essentially just sort of a compilation of jokes that I just sort of like strung together and formed into a script.
So tell us what the story is without giving away the ending.
Of course. So it's the story of a homeless man who I played in the scene just sort of enters into a sort of convenience store and pretty much just collapses on the floor and tries to go to sleep, and the lone convenience store worker, who was played by Brendan here, tries to get me out. Hijinks ensue.
So what I did was I took the 360 camera we have here at WestfordCAT, and I moved it around different spaces. I did one tour of the building using the 360 camera. I put it in different spots all around the building and stitched them together through a website and made a tour that anyone can go look at. soon to come to the website.
Our
people can-
website,
yeah, so you
yes.
come to the Westford Cat
WestfordCAT's website. Yeah, we should explain to some of our viewers who may not know, what's a 360 camera?
So a 360 camera is kind of a big camera with multiple lenses on it. It has 8 lenses around it, so that it takes a picture of each kind of view, and then in a program it stitches them together into kind of an orb that you can look around yourself. You can kind of look around freely, instead of where a normal picture would just have a rectangle that you have to forcibly look through that perspective, whereas a 360 picture kind of is a free perspective. You can look anywhere you'd like.
Doherty is bound for the State University of New York at New Paltz this fall, and Berg will attend Quinnipiac College in Hamden, Connecticut. A Westford Cat volunteer, Lee Wei Bao, got inside the house at 63 Main Street that was damaged by fire 3 years ago. This winter, town officials purchased the property for $600,000, and after restoring it, will decide whether to keep or sell it. The 3rd floor of the historic home was destroyed on March 29, 2016, but town officials noted that the remainder of the house is solid. The property sits on 2.93 acres next to the town-owned Rodenbush Community Center and near Town Hall. With parking spaces tight for large town center gatherings and more space needed to house such town entities as the school department, the purchase has the potential to address these problems. Bao sits on the 63 Main Street Task Force. Westford Cat will update you on any new developments with the property. Berry, a 1-year-old rabbit, is still available for adoption. We brought you news about her in early April, and we're hoping she'll find a home soon.
Here's adoption counselor Erin Milligan with more on this feisty little rabbit.
So this is Berry. So Berry is a 1-year-old rabbit. She came in with a few other rabbits, all family members. So we think that she will likely do well with another rabbit. She is looking for a rabbit-experienced home, someone who enjoys pets as much as she does, but she also needs someone who is good with handling kind of a feisty rabbit. She likes things on her terms. You do need to go slow with her, give her a chance to get to know you first. She is a smart girl, so she definitely appreciates a family who likes to do enrichment, and we'll come up with different activities and stuff for her to do. One of the things we like to do here is we will put a sheet over the walls of her cage, and it creates a bit of a fort. Like when you were a kid, if you had your own fort. She does love that. Cardboard boxes are always great because it gives her something to kind of hang out and hide in if she like, something to jump on if she wants, but then it also gives her something to chew on. And then coming up with different toys, like this one right here that a volunteer made for us. You just take a paper towel tube and you can put crinkled paper in it, something again for her to chew on, but it also gives you the chance to hide like a little goodie treat in there, and then she can smell it and she'll take the time to work her way into it by tearing apart the paper towel to get to the treat inside. Egg cartons are also a good idea to do for things like that. You can use a whole egg carton, you can use a half egg carton, and then just stick their hay, their veggies through the sides of it. Again, so that way they have to take the time to actually pull them out to get to them to eat them. If there are any kids in the home, she is going to do better with older kids though, more on the teenage side.
If you think you'd like to provide Berry with her forever home, or would like more information on donating to or volunteering at the Lowell Humane Society, visit them Tuesday through Sunday at 951 Broadway Street in Lowell, or go to lowellhumanesociety.org. Call 978-452-7781. You can also find them on Facebook. For Westford Cat, I'm Patty Stalker.
Rain, rain, go away. Hopefully, the weather will improve in time for the Apple Blossom Parade this Saturday. Let's see what weather.com is predicting. Here's WestfordCAT board member Betsy Alvarez with suggestions for things to do in the area.
Thanks, Tracy. The Rodenbush Community Center is offering Introduction to Classical and Classic Song, a 5-week class from 7 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays from May 22nd to June 19. The class is designed for people who have had some prior singing experience in church, school, or voice lessons, who are interested in exploring the world of classical solo art songs, which are poems set to music by classical composers. Traditional folk songs will also be included. The class is taught by Westford resident Jean Masterson, who holds a music degree from UMass Lowell. She's a member of the National Association of Teachers of Singing and has been teaching both private lessons and group lessons for over 25 years. Tuition is $140 per person. For more information, visit rodenbush.org. The J.B. Fletcher Library officially launches the 2019 Story Walk at the Westford Community Gardens at 44 Graniteville Road. The walk begins on May 21st at 10:30 a.m. Help the librarians hop, skip, walk, jump, and run to each page of their book. Look in the Little Seed by Giuliano Ferri. After they read around the perimeter of the garden, the children will plant a seed to take home with them. This free program celebrates the first anniversary of the library Story Walk. For more information, visit westfordlibrary.org. If you are nearing retirement age, you may be interested in a presentation being offered at the Cameron Senior Center on Thursday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. Planning for Medicare will be presented by Heather Hurd, a Blue Cross Blue Shield representative. Learn how and when to enroll, how to avoid fees, and how to develop a drug plan. Eligibility begins on your 65th birthday. Register by May 20th at 978-692-5523. I am Betsy Alvarez, a WestfordCAT board member. Back to you, Tracy.
That's it for now, Westford. We leave you with photos of the Westford Academy Junior Cotillion at Kimball Farm. Have a great week, Westford.